Hello, and welcome to New Beginnings Start Today, the podcast for people who really want to grow deeper in their faith with the Lord. I'm your host, Dr. Douglas Keffer, a minister, licensed clinical pastoral counselor here in Roanoke, Virginia, and I have a passion to help people live their faith. Today, we are going to talk about the need to be understood and how you can find ways to have people listen to what you are saying and know that you are reaching them. Let's look at this. We are being bombarded with so much information on a daily basis that it is very difficult to feel that what we are saying to people about many different topics that to feel that they are really that we are really being understood by those listening to us. I am thinking about a husband I was counseling, and I was trying to communicate to him the effect of his unfaithfulness to his wife and what it was doing to her. After explaining all that his unfaithfulness to his wife was doing, I said to him, "Tell me what you hear me saying to you." He looked at me for a moment and said to me, "I don't know what to say, Dr. Keffer." He was so far into denial about the moral implications of his sinful behavior, he did not understand what I was saying to him. This happens so often with many people who are unwilling to listen to what other people are saying because they are thinking about the next thing they want to say and do not hear what is being said to them. King Solomon addresses this in a very poignant way when he wrote, "He who answers a matter before he hears it is folly and shame to him." Proverbs 18 and verse 13. When this when there is conflict going on, it is so easy for the person who is being reprimanded to want to be heard that they don't stop to listen to what is being said to them. They just keep interrupting the other person, and things can go from bad to worse. This is exactly what happened, and my conversation with the husband who did not want to accept the consequences of committing adultery. When I told him that if he didn't repent of this sinful behavior, he was going to lose his wife and his children. Sadly, that is exactly what happened in this situation, and another family felt the pangs of Satan's lie. The key to being understood when we are talking to others about issues that have arisen that need our attention is to learn how to listen to the other person first. Listen to them first. When we are able to hear what the other person is saying to us, we then can have a response that is going to be very effective in bringing about a positive resolve to the matter at hand. The brother of Jesus knew this to be true, and he encouraged the Christians who were being persecuted by the Romans and the Jewish leaders with this admonition: "My dear brothers and sisters, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry, because human anger does not produce the righteousness that God desires." James 1, verses 19 and 20. James gives us a great process to be able to be understood when he says everyone should be quick to listen and slow to speak and slow to become angry. Think about the last time you were trying to tell your point of view on a matter, and it seemed that the other person just would not listen to what you were trying to say to them. How did that make you feel? Were you able to keep your composure, or did you allow your anger to get the better of you? I remember sitting with a mother and her daughter, and the mother was trying to talk to her daughter about her disrespectful attitude toward her. The daughter had had enough of the conversation and screamed at her mother and said, "Just shut up." I took control of that situation and shared with the daughter that her response to her mother was uncalled for, and that all that it was doing is make both of them angry toward each other. This is what James says is counterproductive, because human anger does not produce the righteousness God desires. I saw a growth in this teenager to where she learned to listen to what was being said to her before spouting off. And today, she and her mother have a wonderfully loving relationship. God's plan works. We have very limited knowledge and understanding. If we are going to grow in our understanding of what people are saying to us, we are going to have to learn to listen. If we start talking before we listen to what is being said, we only have the response that is inside ourselves. This can give us a very limited perception of what is really taking place, and we can miss the opportunity to be of real help to the people who God needs us to help with their life circumstances. We can increase our knowledge and understanding, but it takes discipline. This is what Solomon shared with his people when he wrote, "Those who disregard discipline despises themselves, but the one who heeds correction gains understanding." Proverbs 15 and verse 32. We have to be willing to come under the authority of God in order to gain the wisdom to be able to have the right understanding of what others are trying to say to us. Then we are able to have a perception of what will be best and a best way to help that person or those people, because we have been able to listen to them. If all we do is speak, we only have the resources inside of ourselves. This makes our ability to help people, because all we hear is our own story. And that can be so one sided that we will not be able to really grasp what is being told to us. I counseled a couple to whom this principle really applied. The wife wanted the husband to understand that she was not going to tolerate his unfaithfulness and any longer. She told him that this so many times that he sat there and would tell her that he was sorry and that it would never happen again. But because he was not listening to her, he didn't hear the seriousness of what she was saying to him. His daughters withdrew from him and excluded him from their lives. And all he did was ignore this and went back to acting out his addiction again and again. This husband, for so long, disregarded discipline, and this behavior had a huge negative effect on his self esteem. He got to the point that he did not believe that his wife could love him ever again, and she did, as she did when they first married. This is how Satan pulls people into his lies, and is so happy when he sees this kind of destruction to people's lives. I am very happy to say that he stayed in counseling long enough to heed the correction that was necessary and finally understood he had to change and could make those changes that allowed his wife to believe those changes were real and she could trust him. The big question is, how do we learn to get past our need to be heard so that we can hear people who need to be heard? I believe wholeheartedly that it starts with us wanting to talk to God about the things that are stealing our lives away and stealing those lives that are close to us away from us. The thing that seems so big that we don't know how that we are ever going to get a resolve to them. Peter addressed this issue to the church in the first century that were being persecuted in so many ways when he wrote, "Cast all your anxiety upon him because he cares for you." 1 Peter 5 and verse 7. You have to believe that you can take anything to God and talk to him about it because he loves and cares for you. He has more resources to help you with your issues than anyone else, and he is always available to listen to your needs. I have had many people tell me over the years that what they had done is so bad that God would not want to listen to anything they had to say. They could not believe what Peter was telling those Christians who were living in a lifetime and a time of persecution. When Peter was telling those Christians they needed to cast their anxieties on the Lord. I tried to reassure them that the Lord did want to help them and that was beyond their ability to comprehend. This is very true for a husband who came to me for help because of his wife threatening to divorce him if he didn't change his lifestyle. He began to tell me about his struggles with drugs and sex, and it was a very serious situation that he was dealing with. The wife told me that she loved him, but she was not able to get through to him about how his perversions were affecting her in a very negative way, and his demeanor told her that he was not willing to listen to what she had to say. The husband was unwilling to hear what the wife was saying to him because he was not listening to her pleas, and that resulted in her not being understood by her husband. King Solomon addresses this kind of attitude again when he wrote, "Those who discard discipline despises themselves, but the one who heeds correction gains understanding." Proverbs 15, verse 32. After much work and prayer, this husband gained the understanding of what he was doing to his wife and began to put his trust in God's word. And he saw the transformation that listening to God's counsel and putting what he learned into practice, that his life could change, and it did. We all have a need to be understood, and that starts when we learn to be a good listener first. This allows us to understand where the other person is coming from. When we know this, our ability to respond to them becomes much more effective, and then we too are understood in our responses. Trust God to make you a good listener so that you can feel understood by those you interact with. Thank you for listening to this episode, and I want to invite you to contact me and share with me how you are learning to be a better listener so that you can be better understood. Answer this question: why is it imperative that you learn to be a good listener so that you can be understood? If you're seeing this on YouTube, please click the subscribe button and the like button. Also, click on the share button and share it with all your friends. That would be so helpful to me. Tell me about other issues you would like me to address by leaving your comments, and you can email me at drdouglaskeffer@gmail.com. I also encourage you to pick up a copy of my book, New Beginnings Start Today with God, and you can get that on my website, drdouglaskeffer.com. Click on the link below. Until next time, God bless each of you.